Hello and welcome to Surveyor Says, the podcast from the National Society of Professional Surveyors. Each week, we bring you fascinating guests that are involved in the profession of surveying. We cover a lot of ground, including Table A Talk with Gary Kent, Point of Order with the NSPS Joint Government Affairs Team, Future Focus, highlighting current and future leaders of the profession, and everything survey-related in between. Thanks for joining us here on the podcast, and hope you enjoyed listening to this episode of Surveyor Says. Hello and welcome to another episode of Surveyor Says. My name is Tim Birch, and here we've breezed past the July 4th holiday weekend, and my wife's aunt used to always say that, well, once you get past the 4th of July, the summer is just, it's all downhill from here. Well, I got to tell you, here at NSPS, we're just getting started. So we've got our next episode of what we call From the Director's Desk, and we'll catch you up on what's been happening for the last 3 months since the last episode, because there's been a lot of stuff happening, and we'd like to catch you up. Just keep an eye on what to expect from the next 3 months and beyond, because there's a lot of things looking up right now. Well, we'll go back into the mid-April time frame that we ended up going down to Orlando, meeting with our contemporaries from FIG, and we're planning this little soiree, we like this, called the 2023 FIG Working Week. This will be happening at the Bonnet Creek Hotel in Orlando, just outside of Disney. And we went down there, a contingent of us went down there to check out the hotel, check out all the conference space, the exhibit hall, all of the setup that's going to be for this pretty big conference. This is the first time that NSPS has been able to co-host an international event on U.S. soil in over 20 years. The last one was the FIG Congress in 2002 in Washington, D.C. So it's an opportunity for us to get back on the international stage. We're really looking forward to a great conference. And so we've got things in the planning stages. And stick around, you'll get some more information. But those dates are May 28th through June 2nd of 2023 down in Orlando. And watch the website and other announcements, news and views and such for more news on what's going to actually happen with that working week. We're looking forward to it. Then we go forward on into the month of May, and I was able to take a trip to Texas to see some old friends in Dallas and get to meet a whole bunch of new ones. A little shout out to Chapter 5 of TSPS. They're based out of Dallas. My good friend Chris Freeman is the current Chapter 5 president. He held a little seminar, a little get-together at his office. We maxed out his conference room with 50-some people. It was a great time, a lot of great people, good energy, good topics, and really, really enjoyed it. However, well, I'll bring this up because we deal with this nationwide on a regular basis. So, unfortunately, I've been one that's fallen victim to this. We've got theft nationwide of survey equipment and things that are breaking into trucks and theft. Well, just so happens Chris and I were at lunch. Very nice restaurant in Dallas, and here it is, survey truck. Stuff in the back seat of a crew cab pickup truck with survey name down the side of it, and smash and grab. So I lost a laptop and a couple of iPads and a whole bunch of personal effects in my laptop backpack. So bottom line is, in your survey vehicles, on your job sites, stay vigilant, keep the stuff put away, even keep it down under seat level, under window level, because bottom line is the thieves are still out there. They're targeting the survey trucks. They know what they're looking for, and even if they see stuff in the back seat, they will smash and grab. So let's please be careful out there, and just remember, put your stuff away and try to minimize those theft opportunities what you can. My laptop's gone. I mean, it's just stuff in the grand scheme of things, but it can be a lot worse, especially with the thousands of dollars that we have in equipment and a lot of this. Not to mention just headache and lost work time. Just keep your head on a swivel and stay vigilant out there. While I was in Texas, though, and I finished on a higher note, was able to meet with the TSPS Board of Directors and sat through a couple of their committee meetings, including government affairs and their membership. A lot of great new relationships, great new energy. There's a lot of good things going on in surveying around the country, and Texas is one of them. Their chapters, all 20 of them, are pretty vibrant, and so like I said, we were able to connect on a few items and really look forward to working with TSPS. And actually, we'll get into that in a little bit. Something we are partnering with them in the coming weeks. A couple other trips we was able to make this year. So far in the last 3 months, made a trip out to Las Vegas for Hexagon. Was able to see the latest and greatest in technology with their their conference. Was the first time in 3 years since 2019. Good to have people back in person. Really good show, very well attended, and a lot of great new tech is come out. One of the things that we've got to keep an eye on survey-wise is the new technology that is continuing to push the limits on what we can do. The auto poll, tiltable prism poll now is a really neat feature to go along with our total station. So I know more of the instrument makers are going to be coming out with them, but Leica is out ahead of it right now. It's a really cool piece of kit, as some of our English friends would say, and it's really neat to see. So if you get a chance, check it out. From there, was able to go on to San Francisco and meet with all of the representatives from the Western states in the Western Federation of Professional Surveyors. Ben Peterson, the current chair, was a very gracious host. We had a great meeting there. A lot of good common themes going on that we're looking at nationwide. They're looking at from a regional perspective. One of the big things that I would like to really focus on with WestFed is the CFEDS program. It's somewhat been renewed. There's a new vendor that's come in, taking over the program, working with BLM. The effort's headed up by Glenn Thoreau, and former NSPS governor/director, and he's been very instrumental in the CST, Learn CST program, and is taking it over as the advisor for the CFEDS program. A lot of good content's going to be coming out of there. Like I said, a renewed energy, and there's so much value to that program. So we really want to make sure that we get the word out that program really needs to be utilized by our tribes, by our government, all these public land opportunities. That's the way to go. Look at the CFEDS program. If you're not one, consider being one. And we need to really make sure that the CFEDS program is utilized to the fullest extent of really what it's intended to, because it goes so much deeper into learning that the public lands survey system, and it's not just the typical educational program that you would go through just to get your basic state license. It's very deep, it's very intense, but it's very, very useful. So keep that in mind for all of our public land states. Something else we're talking about the West Coast is I'm very, very excited for, very, very proud of. After several late night Zoom calls with a multitude of chapters, the California Land Surveyors Association is now a 100% membership state. The MOU has been signed by NSPS and CLSA. Actually, one of the podcasts that we'll touch base on a little bit later was with their president. We're looking forward to having their membership started July 1. And so we'll have 100% membership with CLSA going forward. Great to have them on board, because there was, just that one big puzzle piece that was missing out west, that we want to get them engaged, be able to do more with CST and TrigStar and a lot of the great programs we've got going on, and to learn from them on a lot of things. One thing we've talked about hit and miss with the upcoming NSRS new datums coming from NGS, well, California is a prime example of why these dynamic datums are a big thing to put in place because of the moving terrain, the tectonic plates that are moving, and everything moves with it. Well, the new dynamic datums are part of that. So to learn from our CLSA members on why that dynamic datums it's a very, very important thing to be able to move forward with, and they'll have some very, very good stories to tell us on why this is something we need to make sure and embrace. Another thing that we were able to we working with our partners at NGS, we took part in a congressional briefing back in June, along with our counterparts at ERISA, along with Director Juliana Blackwell. We were able to speak to members of Congress about the upcoming funding that NOAA is being subject to and the dollars that can be rolled over into NGS for helping them develop and maintain all of the programs that they are working on, not just the upgrade for the NSRS, but all of the great things that they've got with the OPUS, various OPUS procedures and projects, and a lot of that technology that they're able to help this everyday surveyor with establishing and databasing accurate positions all across the country. So we were able to basically speak to the progress and the positivity of all of the things NGS does. So a little shout out to our good friend Brent Jones with ERISA that he and I spoke together on that subject, and I think it was very well received. That there is a lot of value there in NGS, so it's important that we maintain these types of relationships and can help convince our congressional leaders that this is where the necessary funding needs to go. Moving on, another board meeting I was able to attend was the Maryland Surveying Society's their May board of directors, and once again it was a very well attended back in person for a change. 40-50 people, like I said, great conversations. Nice to make new relationships with members of MSS. Bottom line is that we do have a lot of good common themes going on, getting people back. Obviously we've coming out of the pandemic, we've been working out in the field, being able to do those things, still maintaining that, but it's everything going forward with our associations, with our affiliates at the chapter level, at the state level. So it was good to meet with their state board and talk about the things that we are continuing to advocate and pursue in the promotion of the profession. Speaking of promotion of the profession, we've got an exciting new video that was completed for the CST board. It's out on our YouTube channel right now. We've released it in a couple of different places. The link to it, very well done. The message is great there. That really it's an impressive video in that how it speaks to the employer and the benefits that the employer and the employee have by implementing the CST program. It provides the employee with an opportunity to have a career path, that we're able to learn and step their way up in a career. And it also provides so much value for the employer, knowing that person that they've employed, they're engaging with, that they've got a direction in their career. They've taken this certification to where they know something about their certification and know something about this career that they're investing in. Like I said, it's a win-win for both the employer and the employee. Check it out. CSTNSPS.com. There's the links there to the video out on our YouTube channel. It's very, very well done, and appreciate Alan Sheaves and his team for putting that together. Another part of what we're trying to work on as far as promotion goes, one thing I'm very proud to say that our scouting committee has been reinvigorated with the announcement that the Boy Scout Jamboree is going to be held again next July, the end of July 2023, back in Bechtel, West Virginia. So the scouting committee has basically reassembled. We've got a new chair, a couple of new members with renewed passion for basically making sure that the scouting merit badge doesn't go away. It's one of the original merit badges. However, it's way down the line because of the amount of time and effort it takes to put it together. But we're finding individuals that want to do that want to be trained, that qualify to be able to teach this merit badge. So I think we're going to see a lot more passion be re-injected back into the scouting merit badge. So stay tuned for more opportunities for the merit badge, for training clinics, teaching clinics, and then opportunities to go and help with the scouts on being able to effectively train for that badge, because it is a critical one. And there's a lot of other things that's going to tie into surveying and scouting that I think we're going to try to modernize it with the best we can. So stay tuned. There's a lot more great information coming forward with that. Getting back to Texas, actually the week this coming up shortly here, July 10th through 12th, we are going to be co-hosting a double booth at the American School Counselors Association. This year being held in Austin, Texas. We're partnering up with TSPS, and this will be our 6th year at the School Counselors Conference. Typically, they anticipate 2,500 to 3,000 teachers and school counselors. Well, this year the registration so far is at 4,500, and they're still coming in. So we've got a good team going down there to Texas, into Austin, to be able to partner up with TSPS. Tim Murphy, our workforce development chair, Illinois director, is going to be heading up the NSPS contingent. My good friend Chris Freeman from Texas is going to help as well, along with Lind and her staff from TSPS. We are anticipating a great turnout, like I said, simply by the numbers, with a lot of also a shout out to Cam and Ben Lowe. They're going to bring in their sandbox to like I said, to kind of help draw in the like flies to honey. That the augmented reality sandbox really turns some heads when these teachers and counselors see it. They get their hands in it, and then you can pounce on them and tell them about how great surveying and geospatial careers are. And because we've been there several times, people are starting to remember us, and we are getting calls after every conference now saying, can you get somebody to my state, get somebody to my school, my district, what have you. It's a great opportunity to tell the story about why surveying and geospatial is that great career that you just never think of. All right. One last thing that we want to touch base on as far as the planning stages is we do have our fall business meetings coming up in the middle of October. This year we're going to be in Tulsa. We've got a couple of days of meetings and our board meeting. Along with our PAC golf outing, we're working out the details right now on the golf outing itself. I think we're going to do a combination of some regular golf and maybe some par 3 stuff. Working out those details now, but looking forward to a good meeting now that we've had a couple of business meetings under our belt, back in person, getting away from the hybrid component of this. It works out so much better when everyone's together for this meeting. We really get some things ironed out, and a lot of good progress. Plus, it's nice to reconnect and to experience that camaraderie again. One announcement I would like to make, and this is a very substantial announcement that I think it's very important. It's really setting the tone. We know of a few schools, especially a couple in Texas, that are working surveying into their curriculum through their vocational part of their high school program. But we now have a technical high school in Pennsylvania that has applied for a student chapter of NSPS. you're utilizing the CST level 1 and level 2 for part of their curriculum, but they've applied and they meet all the criteria that a college course would, with their advisors, with the curriculum, but they're doing it at the high school level, starting in the sophomore class up through senior. So big shout out to Bucks County Technical High School and the civil technology program that they put together, that they've invigorated a surveying component in there, which is fantastic. I mean, and they've got it's the course is full, that the kids, and literally kids at this point in time, my wife gets mad at me when I say high school, or even though those are still kids to me, that they are experiencing surveying for the first time. They're getting hands-on with some of the latest equipment, and they're getting jobs. They're getting apprentice opportunities, intern opportunities in high school in surveying. So that's fantastic that they're able to do that. Bottom line is that the quicker we expose students that like to solve problems, that like the math, that like the history, that can visualize the spatial data that we are collecting now, we need to get them out there. We need to get them involved, because they can make that easy tie into a career that's going to excite them, that's going to get them down the road. And if we get somebody interested early, there are so many opportunities education-wise to get them tied in, whether they take some time off and go to a 2 or 4 year college full-time, or if nothing else, the pandemic has taught us that we can do these things remote. We can do these things hybrid, that somebody that's learning on the job as an apprentice, as an intern, all day, and then maybe take some time with some labs with their online coursework. In no time, they can have the education that goes along with that experience, and we've got our next generation of surveyor or geospatialists. Bottom line, it's a great opportunity. So kudos to Bucks County, and we look forward to coming out there in the fall to meeting with the educators, meeting with the students, and really seeing where this program's taking off. I think it's something that we're going to see more of these around the country. But this is the kind of the call to action to you, the surveyor. Help us. We need those professionals to be able to help put these programs in these schools, whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's community college, what have you, to be able to provide your expertise to get that done. So consider that. There's a lot of upside to this. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. So think about that, consider that, and we'll see where the future takes us. Another opportunity I was able to have back end of April, 1st of May, I was able to meet up with some local surveyors here, actually from Maryland and Pennsylvania, that are sharing in a common goal, that they're working with the Maryland Historical Society, and they are inventorying the Mason-Dixon stones. For me, I mean, it's growing up in Illinois. All my career has been in Illinois. It's something about the stories. You know about Mason and Dixon and how they laid out the line. Whatever I've read the stories. To be able to go and join these gentlemen and go out and find these stones, to map them with GPS, to basically inventory their condition, take photos, and establish all the attributes that are going to go into this database was phenomenal. It was, the fact that, I realize there are other parts of the world, Europe and such, where we're talking centuries old. Well, to be able to stand someplace over a crown stone that's been there 240 years, knowing that these men, Mason and Dixon, put these, establish this line, and watching the stars at night and aligning themselves, and then setting out this latitude line. It's phenomenal. It was really a great experience. So I'd like to thank the Maryland Society and the Pennsylvania Society for allowing me to tag along Got some great pictures out of it, and it was an experience that I will never forget. And if I think we're going to be on, there's the western section of the line. There's a lot of monuments out there, out in the hills of out towards the West Virginia, that haven't been found in a long time, and they're going to be hard to get to, and it's going to be a trek. But I'm hoping we're able to put something together and make a little pilgrimage out there to try to find those. Probably going to be cold weather time to wait for all the foliage to be down, but looking forward to it. It should be rather an interesting opportunity. Would like to take a moment to thank all of the guests that have been on the podcast since April. I would like to thank John Palatiello and for sitting down with me and talking about the proposed Davis-Bacon changes. That was one thing that came down, kind of caught us by surprise there in March with the announcement of this, basically not an overhaul, but some radical changes, proposed rule changes to the Davis-Bacon. So John sat down with me. We went over why these changes are bad for the surveying community, why it's not applicable to put surveying back under a labor type situation. A lot of great input from John. It led right over to a great town hall that we were able to have. And hopefully that'll kind of trigger having more town halls down the road. It was very well attended, a lot of great questions. But that was a good podcast, and really appreciated John doing that. Another one that I really want to shout out to is Gary Kent, that we did another Table A talk. And the thing there was that we're constantly being bombarded as surveyors by attorneys saying, "Well, you're the first surveyor that won't agree to this certification, or won't agree to not, to show this on the survey, what have you." No, we're not. It's the same lie they are all telling that they're telling all surveyors. And so Gary and I had a good laugh and went through a lot of that, and why we should not agree to any of these changes in certifications, why you don't show things on the plat that they are wanting you to stick to the certification, to stick to the standards, and why it's in your best interest as the signing surveyor to do that. So great talk from Gary. Was also able to sit down with our current president, Amanda Allred, and got some background on her career and where her perspective and goals are going during her tenure as president of NSPS. Great conversation, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy, a lot of passion there for diversity, for inclusion, for equity, and that it is something we have to be cognizant of, because the profession has changed. So many different tasks can be done by literally anyone that has the desire, the passion, the knowledge base to be able to do these things. So we as the profession have to be open-minded and make sure that we are able to go forward and be open to anyone that wants to be part of this profession, because there's one of those things that we don't want to turn too many people away, because we're not in that luxury of being able to do that. So like I said, great conversation, and appreciated Amanda being on. Next one was a young lady I met while I was in Texas. Young technician that had kind of fallen into surveying. She actually worked with her father, traveled around the world doing a version of surveying, basically laser scanning insides of government buildings and learning how to handle some of those point clouds and drawing files. And when she got back to the States, she's turned it into a surveying career. And so I was able to sit down with Allie Sparkman, and nice conversation about why we do have to embrace diversity, inclusion, equality, because there are so many opportunities, and we need those healthy young minds. And it was such a great conversation with her, lively conversation of why this was very, very important that we did this. when we continue to impress upon our young surveyors that, hey, this is a great career, stick with it. Another one I'd like to really give another shout out to, because I went back and listened to it again a couple of times. Our past president, Tony Cavell, who's now currently the president of AAGS, the American Association for Geodetic Surveying. Tony's passion for I'll say the complicated end of surveying and the geodesy, the geodetic side of surveying, is very evident. He's full of great information, full of great knowledge, and a lot of insight on why it's important that we don't forget why we do what we do and maintain that integrity of accuracy, of precision, and how all of these systems work together. So I'd like to just another quick shout out to Tony and say thank you that was a great conversation that it really meant a lot to me, some of the direction that he went with talking about his core stations, with talking about geodesy and how it's kind of split apart from surveying in the mid 50s, and then it's coming back with GPS and all these things. Bottom line, great conversation, and thanks to Tony for taking the time. Next to last, talking about our podcast, was the conversation, the sit down I had with a young man I met at the Maryland board meeting. His name is Ramon Labrador, and what a fascinating story. He's now the deputy surveyor for the District of Columbia's surveying office, but to come to find out that this is a young man that was raised in Puerto Rico, went to school in Puerto Rico, studied surveying, came to the States soon after that, and has worked his way up to a pretty prominent position within the surveyor's office there in the District of Columbia. A lot of great insights from this young man, and why it's important that we do stay engaged with at the chapter level, at the state level, at the national level, and how the camaraderie and the networking and the mentoring is very important to this profession. For any gender, any race, any creed, any color, what have you, we are learning from each other. And he was another nice conversation to really press that point home, that we all are in this together, and anyone that has that ambition and knowledge base to be able to do what we do, we've got to give him that chance and go for it. He's a great example of what you can achieve when you put your mind to it. Last podcast I'd like to really give a shout out to, because I was able to strike up a new relationship / friendship, and it's the current CLSA president, Warren Smith. We've been going back and forth for the last few months with the proposed MOU with CLSA, and then being able to talk to Warren about several different things going on in California. And this is one reason why I'm very pleased and proud that CLSA has come on board. A lot of the stuff that's going on in California, Warren and I talked about, talking about the wildfires and the effect on the monumentation preservation situation out there, that people don't realize that, okay, these wildfires come through, and not just California, but they're devastating these thousands of acres out here, including lots of communities. Well, before anything can happen where those communities are burnt down, they have to come through and basically clear 12 to 24 inches of ground that all of the burnt material is, all the carcinogens, all the cancer-causing stuff that's on the ground, which takes all of the monumentation all away with it. So how important it is to get back in there safely and get a lot of this monument preservation done, and who's going to fund that, who's going to spearhead that. And Warren is also, he is a county surveyor, so he oversees a lot of that work in his county. But it was a great conversation on why that's important, that NSPS and our state affiliates take this joint relationship and go talk to the state representatives and to our federal legislators on how we get this, whether it's FEMA or in some other program, to get this paid for because it's critical that we do this. It is an emergency relief type situation. It's got to be dealt with. Another thing that Warren brought up, and which was a great reminder, and it's the little things that NSPS tries to do at times for the profession, but it really struck home when he brought this up. Even though they weren't a 100% membership state, he's utilized all of the materials that we provide for National Surveyors Week. And so he took a lot of that material, not just to the state, but to his county and his municipal governing agencies, and was able to get surveyors recognized for National Surveyors Week at all of those levels, and to see a group of local surveyors in their local municipality, local county, for a group photo with that municipality, that governing agency, recognizing National Surveyors Week was fantastic. And the fact that Warren stepped up, he did the legwork, he put the time in and got these proclamations done. Proud to call him a contemporary, proud to call him a fellow member of NSPS as part of our national membership program. And once again, welcome to CLSA. Love having you in, and love seeing what Warren's going to do next, besides seeing all his great pictures that he puts online. Great outdoorsman, and all of his pictures have been wonderful. Before we wrap up this week's episode of Surveyor Says, we'd like to give a shout out to our supporting and sustaining members who we just don't think they get enough attention. So in no particular order, here we go. Seiler Geospatial, Municipal Marketing Distributors, Topcon Solutions Store, Surveyor Connect, Nisei CAD Designs, Esri, Airworks, Bernston, Carlson, Diamondback Land Surveying, Dell Technologies, Emlid, Juno Jones, GeoLearn, Krylon Industrial, NCWES, SAM LLC, Schoenstead, Subsurface Instruments, ServCap, That CAD Girl, Trimble Geospatial, Victor Insurance, American Surveyor, and XYHT Magazine. Thank you to all of those sustaining members / sponsors who support NSPS and all the programs we have going on, all the initiatives, all the effort that we need the financial support to be able to do, and also help spread that gospel. So we'd like to just say thank you to all of them. Be looking for some changes coming up to our supporting sponsorship program. Got a lot of great changes, a lot of great initiatives. Be looking for that in the next few weeks. But on that note, we'd like to wrap it up for this week's episode of Surveyor Says. Several good things coming up in the next few weeks, so stick around, subscribe where you listen to your podcasts, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you. You've been listening to the Surveyor Says podcast, brought to you by the National Society of Professional Surveyors. If you have any questions about today's episode or any other topic, please email us at info@nsps.us.com, and we are here to help. Visit our website, nsps.us.com, to learn more about our association, the programs we administer and support, our sustaining members, and information about future episodes of Surveyor Says. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, as well as our podcast host, Podbean. And remember, it's a great day to be a surveyor.